Story 1, run a marathon. Nope, it was an adventure, and I was in great shape training for it. But I still have post-traumatic stress disorder from those last 8 miles or so. 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, and halves are fine. 26.2, hell no. Story 2, getting high. I do not feel myself and I cannot function. Not for me. To be fair, I have been high twice. I have a crazy story about my second time if anyone cares to hear about it. Story 3, use deep heat muscle salve that feels hot when applied to a muscle, and then I urinated afterward. It felt like someone put a red-hot coal on my genital area. Story 4. Went on an outdoor pursuit when I was 20, rock climbing, abseiling, hiking, camping, all great fun and wonderful team-building exercises. The only thing that I did not enjoy was going down a small hole in the ground into a network of claustrophobic spaces, in the pitch black with just a small head torch and trust in someone I hardly knew. I am glad that I did it. It was an unforgettable experience, but there is no way on this earth that I would make the conscious decision to do it again. Story 5. Anal intercourse just wasn't my thing. Takes a lot of preparation and can be messy. My husband is well endowed, so it wasn't very pleasant and I didn't feel much pleasure. It was fun to try, but traditional intercourse is amazing, so there's no need for the other option. Story 6. Weed. I tried it once and proceeded to have a trip of a lifetime. When I was 17, I tried an edible with my girlfriend at the time and, oh my God, I thought it didn't work at first. We both ate half and hung out for a bit after school. About 30 minutes in, we decided to walk to a fast food restaurant, and to me, I teleported down the street. It wasn't teleportation, but I felt like it was. I was missing at least 30 seconds of time. I was freaking out, hoping that the high would leave before my mom came to pick me up. Spoiler alert, it didn't. It made me paranoid that she knew, and instead of getting in the empty front seat, I hopped in the back and said, "I am tired," and lay down. My mom tried to ask my girlfriend if she wanted a ride home, and she said no, and me thinking I was helping, said, "I have to print something at home. We don't have a printer." My girlfriend looked at me as if to say, "Shut up," and my mom started the drive home. At home, the room was spinning, and I couldn't even focus on my homework at all. I thought taking a nap would help, but no, I had nightmare-fueled dreams. I was still high when I went to school the next day and didn't calm down until lunch. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Story 7. Speed, Black Beauty, Percodans. Separate incidents. The speed just wasn't enjoyable. The Percodans made me pass out, and I'm also not eager to revisit opiates in a recreational setting. Story 8. I'll try almost anything at least once. But here are a few I won't do again. Jumping off a rock into river rapids wearing only a life vest. Cliff diving. Eating crickets. Eating frog legs. Petting the top of a jellyfish. Didn't get stung. Car surfing. Raising a tarantula. Owning rats as pets. Sorry, not my thing. Piercing my nostril. Then there are plenty of things I wouldn't be inclined to do again, but I'll do them if a friend wants to do them but doesn't want to do it alone, like rock climbing, horseback riding, cave exploring, whitewater rafting, roller coasters, haunted houses, fishing, camping in Oklahoma. Story 9. I was experimenting with my sexuality and didn't know exactly where I landed on the gay or straight spectrum. A male friend was going through the same thing, so we decided to give a few things a try. 0 out of 10, not for me. Story 10. I tried to apply for a position at a megachurch in Southern California that I had attended for years. I went from being a single camera operator to learning all 5 to 6 types of cameras we had. We used professional production equipment similar to what NBC and CBS use for their broadcasts. I was promoted to technical director for Thursday services. We broadcast our services internationally on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. I then had a desire to work there because I knew many of the media staff, and the church inspired me to change my major to TV production. I confronted and asked if I could work there under an unpaid internship just to gain experience since I had good relationships with the staff and had been volunteering for over 3 years. I approached one of the media heads who was a good friend of mine. However, I never heard back for months until they removed me by force from a side ministry I was a part of because I had asked about the internship. Apparently, they didn't like me due to my bluntness, and some staff members saw me as sketchy. This really broke my heart, and after a friend told me, I sat in the parking lot crying because the church held a special place in my heart, and I truly believed in their cause. After that, I never volunteered at the same level again, and I still get questions from many staff friends about why I don't participate as much. I made good friends and eventually found a mentor who took me in because he saw my drive. He helped me become a better filmmaker and included me in shoots outside of the church campus through his own production company, providing me with valuable experience. Fast forward to today, I now have 2 to 3 years of experience with the church and have decent set experience because of my mentor. My mentor continues to push me to be better and to volunteer on my terms. I found out from the same friend that the church has notorious problems with nepotism and ego, and it relies on favoritism to hire people, rather than experience. I never tried to work or impress anyone there again, and my mentor is the only person I'm really close with on the media team. He continues to teach me what he knows and just pushes me to be better. Thanks to my mentor's guidance and the experience I gained at the church, I got accepted into one of the schools I wanted and was admitted to one of the best film programs in the entire United States. Out of 39,000 students, only 130 people get admitted each semester for this department. Currently, this is my biggest achievement, and I start officially in January, all because I tried to apply for a position at my church. Sometimes rejection is the best medicine. I still volunteer, but I do it whenever I feel like it, and my mentor continues to support and train me, pushing me to be better. Story 11. Lysergic acid diethylamide. First, I doubt it even exists anymore. Too hard to actually make. Back then it was real when Shulgin students were making it, and it was an amazing and enlightening experience out in the deep wilderness with friends. But way too intense. Definitely not a recreational thing at all, and certainly not for most people. You have to have a very specific, clear, and calm mindset with good friends you love and trust around you to get the most out of it. And that just doesn't exist today with all the electronic chatter around us. This drug's days are done, and it's a shame because under the right conditions, it could be positively life-changing for some. Story 12. A marathon. I hate running, but I did it to prove that it was more of a mental barrier than a physical one. But it really sucked. You could not convince me to do one again. Story 13. Giving my heart to the person who was the love of my life. I was not the love for her, and after 14 years together, she left with her boss, a fat old man. I suspect that before that, there could have been many more things that I don't know. Story 14. Marriage. Tried it, stuck it out for 3 decades while he lied and cheated. While I know he is not every man, getting divorced was too costly and painful. I will not do that to myself again. Happily with a great man, but will never make it official. Story 15. Wedding day ceremony. I'd rather not spend a fortune feeding a bunch of ungrateful people, with my mother-in-law being the biggest one. Her guest list was so big you'd think she was the queen. Story 16. I went to a Christmas party in my trade school at 17. The teachers had made glögg, a Danish Christmas drink with hot wine, raisins, and other spices. They forgot to tell us they had added 96 proof alcohol to the mix. None of the students made it after the first 2 hours. Never again. Story 17. Zip line over alligators. I would have bailed after the first zip, but they said there's no way down until I reach the end. There were 5 and a wobbly bridge at the end like in Indiana Jones. Terrible idea. Story 18. Trust this one particular friend to be on time after 10 years of not seeing each other. I have traveled for 4.5 hours just to be in the city and waited almost another 2 hours at the restaurant. She wrote to me an hour ago, asking if I was at the place we chose to meet. It was already 1 hour after the meeting time was supposed to start. I think I'm gonna tip the waitress and just leave. Guess. The queue to get inside was 40 minutes of waiting outside at 2 degrees Celsius. Story 19. Just drinking without counting or caring at a Christmas party, and then ending up having about 16 glasses of white wine. Not sure of the count, to be honest. And then trying to figure out the next day what exactly happened. And being greeted at the lab with, "Hey, whoa, you're alive and came to work." Damn, that's tough. Story 20. I'm notoriously fearful of traveling solo. I had a blast traveling with friends, But one friend got sick and stayed in the hospital, so the other friend stayed with her, and I had to come home by myself. I was so scared I felt like crying. I'd never do it again. Also camping. Story 21. Drinking all day with barely any water. I was so dehydrated I couldn't sleep until 3:30 in the morning due to heart palpitations. My resting heart rate was an average of 115 beats per minute for a few hours. Story 22. I'd heard somewhere, although I forget where, that what made it addictive was that it brought all your focus to the external pain rather than the internal. I heard that and thought, never in a million years will I do that. Then one time, I had a panic attack due to built-up anxiety, and the thought just resurfaced. So I bit my lip as hard as I could and punched and headbutted the nearest wall. It worked scarily well, to the point where I used that experience as a motivator to go see a therapist, because I have a knife drawer and sharpener, and as much as I love cooking, that made me see those tools in a light I don't want to see ever again. Story 23. Waxing my own bikini area. Instant regret after the first rip. I was overwhelmed when the tears gave way to the sight of the other strip firmly affixed to the other side. Just waiting. Story 24. Roller coasters. I tried them when I was younger, and they didn't scare me all that much. But as I get older, absolutely not. I went to Six Flags recently and didn't like any of the rides. Story 25. I took lysergic acid diethylamide for the first and only time on October 31st, 2014. I remember saying out loud in the back seat of my friend's car, "This is a bad idea," as we traveled the 45 minutes to a haunted house put on by some community theater. I somehow ended up separated from the friends I went with as the drug completely took over my awareness. I came out the other side okay physically, but the experience messed me up mentally for a while. I would have vivid dreams in which I was suddenly aware that I was still tripping and the previous months were just an illusion, realizing I'm still trying to navigate the haunted house. It was a lot like that post office scene from the movie 1408 when the postal worker starts stripping away the walls to reveal he didn't make it out of the room. Terrifying. I had no idea how intense the effect of the drugs would be and how long they would last, so I will not be experimenting with lysergic acid diethylamide again. I definitely messed around and found out. No thanks. I'm good. Story 26. Maintaining multiple girlfriends, of course, each one knew of the other, but the jealousy, head games, yelling, and raging were not worth all the drama involved with this type of thing. Story 27. 2CB, a synthetic trick drug, was fun for a couple of hours, or what seemed like a couple of hours but was only 20 minutes. I couldn't trust anything for what seemed like days for me, but in reality was only 5 hours. Story 28. Roller coasters. They are not for me. I guess technically I tried them twice. The first time was the Blue Streak at Cedar Point as a kid. If you have ever had your ass kicked while moving at 40 miles per hour, you have ridden the Blue Streak. The second was the Iron Dragon at Cedar Point, which my mom thought would be better since it is a smoother ride. It was not. Story 29. Bei jedem Menschen auf Menschlichkeit hoffen. Nicht falsch verstehen, es gibt Menschlichkeit, gar keine Frage. Aber auch Menschen, die Rekorde brechen. Story 30. I was given the lead to host the best Christmas party this year, and it was a huge mess trying to get in contact with everyone because they gave me a $200,000 budget to play with, but only a month to plan everything and schedule all of the music, speeches, celebration menu, gifts, and send out all of the physical invitations by myself. It went great, of course, but I'm never doing anything on this scale by myself again with a time span of only 1 month. Story 31. Nudist beach. It was therapeutic since I had body issues. I felt I didn't have to hide my body or be ashamed of it. It really freed me, but it was weird and I found myself staring too much, not because others were attractive. It made me feel uncomfortable. I guess I needed to be seen but wasn't that keen on seeing so much random nudity. Story 32. Once a friend of mine and I thought it would be funny to go into a party during college and kiss so that everyone would think we were a gay couple. We did, and it just grossed me out. That's not a judgment against the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. I have plenty of friends who are same-sex couples or who identify as different genders, and I'm completely fine with all of that. It's just not for me, based alone on that one joke kiss. Story 33. I was taking magic mushrooms in a public place with children everywhere. My girlfriend had a panic attack, and we kept making fools of ourselves in public. It wasn't fun for me after her panic attack. I kinda got upset because she was more experienced with magic mushrooms than me, and I wasn't expecting to take care of her. We had to sit in a church parking lot to wait to calm down and drive home. I look back and feel really ashamed about that. I would never trip in public places again. I'm not sure how people can keep it together. Story 34. Linear induction ride. 0 to 75 in a second or less. Smashed my head on the back of the seat. Got a concussion. Love roller coasters, the higher and twistier the better. But no thanks on the linear induction. Story 35. I made a copper pipe bomb from fireworks when I was a teenager and blew up a neighbor's wooden letterbox with it. I couldn't believe how powerful it was. As I ran away in the night, I could hear timber landing on the road all around me for what seemed like an eternity. It was easily the most reckless and stupid thing I have ever done. Could have blown my hand clean off or even killed me or someone else.